Hi, in this video, I would like to show you how to associate a quiz with learning objectives and also associate specific quiz questions with learning objectives you set up in your competency structure. So I have a quiz set up here, an end of module final quiz. So if I click this link, I get taken to the editing screen for this quiz. Now, I haven't fully finished setting it up yet. It's supposed to be out of 20 questions, and I don't have them all in there yet. But that's so I can show you a few things. So I can get to this in a few ways. If I click on this Learning Objectives tab, I can add learning objectives by selecting them from my competency structure. So if I go here, I just added the questions about Easter Island. So if I go here, I can select, say, this objective right here. I could also select any of these child objectives. So for right now, I'll just select the one. And down here, you can see it just added it to my list. These are other ones I've already set up. So then from here, I can click on any one of these links, and it'll get me to the screen where I can associate questions with these learning objectives. As you can see here, I can edit or remove the learning objectives. Or if I go to quiz setup, this is another place I can get to the same screen, and then objectives here, it'll take me to where I can associate the questions. So I can get to that from two different ways, so just know that. So here, if I click here again, I can associate more objectives, and then the objective will show up like this, and it'll give me the option to associate a question. So I'm going to go down to this Easter Island Moai objective I just added. As you can see, there's 0 questions associated. So if I click on associate questions, it'll bring up all my questions, and the last, I think 3 or 4, this one, this one, this one, this one, all have to do with Easter Island. So I can say associate questions. And now if I scroll down, Easter Island Moai, 4 questions associated. So if I click on this again, it'll show me which ones I have. So I could change this around how I want. So I'll just say associate questions. Now, let's see, if I want to add those other ones in there, the child objectives under that, I can. If I navigate back to here, and I add these 3, I can say add selected, and now I can go down to these new 3, like Moai characteristics, and pick out, let's see which questions deal with that. Made of, and what are they made of, and how are they formed? That would be characteristics. This one might be characteristics too, because what part of the sculpture is associated with mana, so that could be one, but maybe not this one so much, or this one. So I'm going to say associate questions for that, because so you can see how it's a little more specific. And then let's see, the vocabulary associated, I can go and tag those. Easter Island is a vocabulary word, just that one. And mana, defining mana would be a vocabulary, so associate that. And then let's see, characteristics, vocabulary, cultural influence, associate questions. And this would be the other one. Okay, so this one, what are the Moai thought to most likely symbolize or represent, would go with cultural influence. And possibly also this one, why is having mana associated with a sacred object important to non-Western cultures? So we'll associate those 2 questions with cultural influence. So now you can see that certain questions are tagged to certain objectives. So I'm going to save and close. So if I go back to learning objectives, I can see all the new ones have been added here. So that's great. I can go and preview. And then I can start my quiz and preview it if I want. And then if I go to the structure, I can see here, let's see, my final quiz. Under my end of module assessments, I have associated this quiz with this structure. So So you can see it down here. I use this link to associate my quiz. So if I go to the summary, I can get results if I click here. So if a student completed the objective, it would show up there, and I can manually override or either way to approve it or unapprove it. So I got that. Let's see, close the window if I can. Oh, close. And then if I go back to, oh no, the Wheel of Death. Not the Wheel of Death. Not now. If I go back to Competency Home and I look under the objectives I just tagged, under here, and I check out the structure, I should see that my quiz question is tagged to this this learning objective, as well as these child objectives. You see it all here, but you see there's no results, like I mentioned in the previous video. You won't get the results because the quiz is not associated with this objective through the competency structure. It's only associated through like the quiz question. So I took the quiz question and I tagged the objective through the quiz, but if I want the results to show up here, I would have to go into Edit Structure and then Incorporate Activities, and then choose the quiz activity, and then pick my quiz, and then check that it's required to complete the learning objective, add it, and then the little icon would show up. The little icon like this would show up by the quiz link. So like it did in this objective here. So here in this structure, I have it associated. So see here, this one's actually associated through the competency structure, so therefore I get this results. So just keep that in mind. If you associated it through your quiz, it'll show that link, but to get the results, you want to associate it through the competency structure. So just make sure that you have that set up the way you want. All right, well, thank you for watching, and I hope you found this helpful. We'll see you next time.